Millionaire becomes substitute teacher for a day. What students did left him speechless. Daniel was a millionaire, but not the flashy kind. He drove a used car, lived in a modest house, and wore clothes that screamed thrift store rather than designer. He believed in saving every penny and living frugally, a lesson taught to him since childhood. But one Tuesday morning, on a whim, he decided to step into a different world, a public school classroom. Just for a day, he told himself. The goal? To understand the struggles of the employees who worked for him, to connect with their realities. Little did he know the journey that awaited him. As he walked through the school's dilapidated halls, he felt an odd mix of excitement and dread. The walls were plastered with colored drawings, but it was the sighs, laughter, and distant shouts that filled the air with urgency. Each room he passed seemed like a different universe, bubbling with raw energy and untold stories. He pushed through the classroom door, greeted by a storm of chatter and sporadic laughter. "Welcome to the circus," shouted one kid, who was immediately met with rolled eyes and chuckles from his classmates. Daniel stood there, a bit taken aback, feeling the weight of their gazes. This was not the polished world of his boardroom. This was real. As the day progressed, he quickly realized being a teacher was far from easy. He tried to engage the students with a lucrative art project, a chance to win a gift card that would make any teenager's heart race. "Here's your chance to express yourselves and win," he exclaimed, hoping his wealth would ignite their creativity. But instead of excitement, the room buzzed with murmurs and raised eyebrows. It didn't take long for competitions to spark. A girl named Lucy, all fiery hair and determination, grabbed his attention. "I don't need a gift card to create," she shot back, her voice firm. Daniel felt a lump in his throat. There was something about her passion that struck a chord. Then came the rivalries. As Lucy went head-to-head with another student named Mark, the tension in the room thickened, not just a contest of art skills, but of underlying emotions, stories, and unspoken struggles. It was as if they unleashed their frustrations onto the canvas, revealing deep-seated wounds and dreams hidden beneath the surface. Suddenly, laughter turned to silence as an unexpected revelation hit the group. The whisper of a family secret spread like wildfire. Mark's father had once faced similar struggles as Daniel's own father. The impact was palpable. All eyes were on Daniel, who felt his carefully built facade start to crumble. He had always felt safely insulated in his wealth, untouched by hardship. But here he was, faced with a mirror reflecting his own insecurities. Would he remain a distant observer, or could he allow himself to invest in these young lives that mirrored his past? As the day drew to a close, he was left grappling with an unsettling realization. There was so much more to these students than he initially saw, and perhaps he had a role to play in this community after all. But just as he thought he had a grasp on his emotions, an unexpected announcement echoed through the intercom, shaking the very foundation of his thoughts. What would happen next? Ei, antes de continuarmos com essa história incrível, preciso te fazer alerta importante. Muitos inscritos têm relatado que o YouTube removeu suas inscrições sem aviso. Dá só uma conferida rápida no botão vermelho aí embaixo para garantir que você ainda está inscrito no canal. Não quero que você perca nenhum conteúdo exclusivo que vem por aí. E já que você está aí, deixa aquele like poderoso que me ajuda muito com o algoritmo. Ah, e me conta nos comentários, de qual cidade você está assistindo? Adoro conhecer cada pessoa incrível que faz parte dessa comunidade. Sua participação faz toda a diferença. Vamos interagir. As the announcement crackled over the intercom, Daniel's heart raced. Please report to the main office, the voice echoed. Instinctively, he frowned, sensing a shift in the atmosphere, like the abrupt change before a storm. The vibrant classroom noise faded into a whisper of concern as the students exchanged glances, uncertainty hanging in the air. What's going on? Lucy murmured, her fiery hair reflecting the fluorescent lights. Daniel noticed her apprehension, a stark contrast to the fiery confidence she had shown moments ago. Mark stood nearby, a tense knot in his shoulders, his eyes darting toward the door, as if expecting something, someone. He sighed, torn. Did he have to go? This day had already felt like a whirlwind of discovery. But a slight nod from the art teacher, who had silently infiltrated the background, pushed him to comply. I'll be right back, he assured the students, feigning calmness that he didn't feel. As he stepped into the hallway, dread clawed at his insides. The rambunctious joy inside felt miles away as he approached the office, where the fluorescent lights flickered ominously. The moment he pushed the door open, everything changed. The office was buzzing with frantic activity. Teachers huddled, whispers slicing through the air. His eyes narrowed as he scanned the tense faces. His esteemed Taylor, the principal, looked pale, her usually strong demeanor shattered. Daniel, she turned. To him, her eyes wide. You're needed here. There's been an incident. His stomach dropped. What kind of incident? Just minutes ago, there was an altercation outside. A kid, a student, found a gun in his backpack. It caused a panic. Every word felt heavy, wrapping around him like chains. Everyone is on lockdown right now. The weight of the revelation crashed over him. A gun? In his school? His mind raced, memories of his own childhood flooding back. A different kind of fear taking root. Is everyone okay? The question escaped his lips before he could stop it. Mostly, but she hesitated, glancing toward a nearby classroom where voices edged toward hysteria. Margaret, one of the special ed teachers, is tending to a couple of kids. Some are really shaken. We need you to help stabilize things. These students trust you. Me? His voice was barely a whisper. He had been the observer, not a savior. But her gaze urged him forward. Please, Daniel. Stomach twisting. He nodded and stepped back into the chaos. It hit him. This was real. These students, stripped of their youthful innocence, were now facing fears that could haunt them for life. He merged into the tumult, scanning the frightened faces, feeling the thrum of anxiety ripple through the room. Back in class, he was met with wide eyes and shaky breaths. What happened? Mark asked, voice trembling as he clutched his desk like a lifeline. They needed someone to hold them together. Suddenly, Lucy stood, her hands raised. Everyone, listen! We can't fall apart now. We have to be strong together. The courage in her voice was electric and contagious. Daniel felt something shift within him. Could he find strength there? Could he become part of this community that so desperately needed a champion? Someone who would fight for their voices. As he took a breath, the classroom door swung open violently. The chaos from outside spilled in as a police officer rushed through, eyes scanning the room like a hawk. We need to talk to everyone in here. Stay calm. Then, amidst the fear and murmurs, a girl in the back raised her hand, shaking. There's more to this. You don't know what he was hiding. Whispered gasps echoed through the room, confusion blooming into something darker. What do you mean? Daniel demanded, heart racing even faster. The girl hesitated, the tension palpable, and then, finally, her secret slipped out. He was planning something big. Daniel's breath hitched. A ripple of dread washed over him. What was unfolding? Ties of friendship, dreams, fears, all began to unravel. The weight of their hidden struggles and their intertwined fates loomed heavy in the air, and Daniel realized amid the chaos that everything he thought he understood about this day and these kids was about to change forever. As the girl's words hung in the air, Daniel felt the room constrict around him like a vice. "What do you mean?" he asked again, his voice barely a whisper. Fear took root in the pit of his stomach, twisting and turning like it was alive. I heard him talking about it," she stammered, glancing nervously toward the locked door. "He was planning to bring it to school. I don't think it was just a threat. It was something real." The words crashed over Daniel like a tidal wave. A real threat, right here in this classroom, filled with innocent faces. "Who?" he demanded, his heart racing. "Who are you talking about?" Before she could answer, Mark shot up from his seat, eyes wide with raw panic. "No, it can't be him. He's always been fine." "No one ever knows," Lucy interjected, her voice unwavering yet fierce. "Every student has secrets, Mark, just like we all have burdens." The tension in the room crackled. Whispers flitted back and forth as the students processed what had been said. Daniel could feel dread creeping up his spine. What if this was true? Suddenly, a loud banging noise echoed from the hallway. It was frantic and violent, like a drum beating a warning. A figure loomed just beyond the door, a shadow stretching strangely across the threshold. Daniel's heart pounded in his chest. "I need you all to stay calm," he shouted, his voice trembling as he stepped protectively in front of the students. "We're safe in here. Stay with me." But he felt more unsure than ever. The door rattled again, this time with force. The officer had moved to block entry, but Daniel found himself glancing back toward the students. Their faces, once lively and hopeful, now glistened with fear and uncertainty. Mark was shaking. "What if it's him? What if he really does have—" His voice cracked, not finishing the thought. But the answer hung heavy in their air. "Then we fight it together," Lucy yelled, grabbing Mark's arm. "We have to face it. No more hiding." As the commotion escalated, the figure at the door finally pushed through. A police officer burst into the classroom, breathless, expression tight with urgency. "We need everyone. Stay in your seats. Lock down this room." Just as he began to talk, the intercom crackled once more. "Attention, all students and staff. This is not a drill. Lockdown in effect. Repeat, this is not a drill." Daniel's heart sunk. This was real. "Please, stay quiet," the officer urged, scanning the room. Tension thickened, wrapping around them all, squeezing tighter. And even amid the chaos, something shifted. Daniel's eyes darted across the classroom, catching a glimpse of Lucy's fierce determination and Mark's desperate hope. But then, something felt off. One of the back windows creaked open, tiny and unnoticed, a sliver of movement in a world turned upside down. "Lucy!" Daniel shouted, pointing. "Look!" Before he could react, two more students dashed towards the window, eyes wide, desperation etched on their faces. And then, it happened. Lucy stood and shouted, "What are you doing? You can't go out there!" And in that moment, the moment of choice, time seemed suspended. The windows of trust were shattering, every secret laid bare, and Daniel heard the sound of a heart breaking. The door swung open again, but this time it wasn't a police officer. It was a figure they never expected. A student, arms raised in panic, eyes wild. "I can't take it anymore! I can't! We need to get out of here!" Shock washed over the room. Suddenly, it dawned on Daniel. He didn't just want to save them. He needed to know them, to understand this tangled mess of fear, pain, and secrets that bound them together. But now a new question loomed. Who among them was the real threat? "Stop!" he shouted, adrenaline now surging through his veins. The reality hit him like a punch. Somewhere in this room lay the edge of a darkness he could never have imagined. As he faced them, realizing the roles of trust and suspicion had reversed, everything balanced on a knife's edge. How could they keep each other safe in a world filled with unknown dangers? What would happen next? The clock ticked ominously, and for the first time, Daniel wasn't sure he wanted to know the answer. As the girl's words hung in the air, Daniel felt the room constrict around him like a vice. "What do you mean?" he asked again, his voice barely a whisper. Fear took root in the pit of his stomach, twisting and turning like it was alive. I heard him talking about it," she stammered, glancing nervously toward the locked door. "He was planning to bring it to school. I don't think it was just a threat. It was something real." The words crashed over Daniel like a tidal wave. A real threat. Right here, in this classroom filled with innocent faces. "Who?" he demanded, his heart racing. "Who are you talking about?" Before she could answer, Mark shot up from his seat, eyes wide with raw panic. "No, it can't be him. He's always been fine." "No one ever knows," Lucy interjected, her voice unwavering yet fierce. "Every student has secrets, Mark, just like we all have burdens." The tension in the room crackled. Whispers flitted back and forth as the students processed what had been said. Daniel could feel dread creeping up his spine. What if this was true? Suddenly, a loud banging noise echoed from the hallway. It was frantic and violent, like a drum beating a warning. A figure loomed just beyond the door, a shadow stretching strangely across the threshold. Daniel's heart pounded in his chest. "I need you all to stay calm," he shouted, his voice trembling as he stepped protectively in front of the students. "We're safe in here. Stay with me." But he felt more unsure than ever. The door rattled again, this time with force. The officer had moved to block entry, but Daniel found himself glancing back toward the students. Their faces, once lively and hopeful, now glistened with fear and uncertainty. Mark was shaking. What if it's him? What if he really does have? His voice cracked, not finishing the thought, but the answer hung heavy in the air. "Then we fight it together," Lucy yelled, grabbing Mark's arm. "We have to face it. No more hiding." As the commotion escalated, the figure at the door finally pushed through. A police officer burst into the classroom, breathless, expression tight with urgency. "We need everyone. Stay in your seats. Lock down this room." Just as he began to talk, the intercom crackled once more. "Attention, all students and staff. This is not a drill. Lockdown in effect. Repeat, this is not a drill." Daniel's heart sunk. This was real. "Please, stay quiet," the officer urged, scanning the room. Tension thickened, wrapping around them all, squeezing tighter. And even amid the chaos, something shifted. Daniel's eyes darted across the classroom, catching a glimpse of Lucy's fierce determination and Mark's desperate hope. But then, something felt off. One of the back windows creaked open, tiny and unnoticed, a sliver of movement in a world turned upside down. "Lucy!" Daniel shouted, pointing. "Look!" Before he could react, two more students dashed towards the window, eyes wide, desperation etched on their faces. And then it happened. Lucy stood and shouted, "What are you doing? You can't go out there!" And in that moment, the moment of choice, time seemed suspended. The windows of trust were shattering, every secret laid bare, and Daniel heard the sound of a heart breaking. The door swung open again, but this time it wasn't a police officer. It was a figure they never expected, a student. Arms raised in panic, eyes wild. "I can't take it anymore. I can't. We need to get out of here." Shock washed over the room. Suddenly, it dawned on Daniel. He didn't just want to save them. He needed to know them, to understand this tangled mess of fear, pain, and secrets that bound them together. But now a new question loomed. Who among them was the real threat? "Stop!" he shouted, adrenaline now surging through his veins. The reality hit him like a punch. Somewhere in this room lay the edge of a darkness he could never have imagined. But just then, another student rose. Jack, always the class clown. "What are we even doing?" His voice was sharp, laced with anger. "You all act like you know him, like you know anything. But I know what's really going on. I saw him. I saw him in the hallway earlier, acting weird. And you all are blind. Blind to what's right in front of you." Gasps filled the room. Daniel froze, each word feeling like a knife. Mark's face drained of color. He opened his mouth, but no words came out. "This isn't just about fear," Jack continued, his voice rising. "You think you're the victims? I know more. You don't understand the half of it. Everyone thinks he's a good guy, but he has everyone fooled." His eyes darted around, frantic, dark. "He brought the gun to school. You think we're in danger? He thinks this is a game." The room erupted. Students shouted. Fear spiraled into chaos. Daniel's heart raced. The truth began unraveling before him like a film playing back too fast. Who was Jack really? What did he know that they didn't? Daniel felt the walls closing in. "I'm not the only one," Jack added, voice hushed, almost conspiratorial. "You're in deeper than you think, and if you all don't wake up, you'll pay for it." Daniel's mind reeled. What had started as a day of connection had turned into an unrecognizable nightmare. What were they all hiding? Why was everyone looking at Jack as if he had just pulled back the curtain on their lives? As Daniel stood at the center of the storm, doubt gripping him, he realized nothing was what it seemed, and the danger wasn't just outside, it was within. Who could he trust now? As the truth hung heavy in the air, everything he thought he knew began to slip away. The clock ticked ominously, and for the first time, Daniel wasn't sure he wanted to know the answer. As the girl's words hung in the air, uncertainty crackled like static electricity. Daniel felt the room constrict around him, each breath heavier than the last. "What do you mean?" he demanded again, voice shaky, heart racing. Every second stretched painfully, a fragile thread ready to snap. I heard him talking about it," she stammered, her gaze darting nervously toward the locked door. "He was planning to bring it to school. I don't think it was just a threat. It was something real." The weight of her revelation crashed down on him like a tidal wave. A real threat, here in this classroom filled with innocent faces. "Who?" he urged, desperation surging. "Who are you talking about?" Before she could reply, Mark shot up, eyes wide with panic. No, it can't be him. He's always been fine. No one ever knows, Lucy threw back defiantly, her voice steady. Everyone hides something, Mark, just like we all do. Tension thickened, whispers ricocheting off the walls. The dread in Daniel's gut twisted tighter. Suddenly, a loud banging echoed from the hallway, forceful and frantic, like a warning drum. A shadow loomed behind the door, causing his heart to pound. I need everyone to stay calm, to stop banging, and wait for the dragon. Daniel shouted, stepping protectively in front of the students. We're safe here. Just stay with me. But in that moment of chaos, he caught the fear flickering across their faces. The door rattled violently. The police officer had moved to block entry, but Daniel's eyes darted back to his students, their youthful innocence evaporating, replaced by a chilling realization. Jack, always one to crack jokes, stood up again, his voice sharp and cutting. What if we're blinded by what we think we know? He's always fine. But what if he isn't? His anger was palpable, tension crackling with every word. I've seen things you haven't. Things he does away from everyone's eyes. Gasps filled the room. Daniel nodded his fingers, processing the explosive tension shifting within the group. What things? He demanded, adrenaline coursing through him. Jack's eyes were wild, darting from student to student. I saw him. Earlier today, in the hallway, he was acting strange, like he was waiting for something. You think this guy is innocent? You're wrong. Mark staggered back as disbelief washed over him. You're lying. You don't know what you're saying. Oh, really? Jack shot back, fury lacing his voice. Then what about the notes, the scribbles, the plans? You all think he's just playing games? It was never just that. Daniel's breath caught. Notes? What notes? But before anyone could respond, the classroom door slammed open. A twisted silhouette rushed in, someone they all recognized. It was Josh, their classmate, eyes wide and panic-stricken. I can't take it anymore. I can't. We need to get out of here. Shock surged through Daniel like ice water. It couldn't be him. He was always the quiet one, the one who blended in. Josh, wait, Daniel yelled, heart racing, stepping forward. But the moment froze as Josh's hands trembled, revealing a cell phone with ominous texts displayed on the screen. I couldn't hold it all in, he gasped, tears flooding his eyes. They're coming for me. They're watching. The air thickened with disbelief. Daniel felt the world tilt. This wasn't just about a gun anymore. Whatever Josh was hiding was about to erupt. The room felt suffocating, the walls closing in. As panic spread, Daniel grasped at the threads of understanding. Who could he trust now? Secrets piled higher, threatening to crush them all. And with that, a chilling thought echoed in his mind. Was Josh really the victim? Or was he entwined with something far darker? Please, Josh yelled, voice cracking. You don't understand. You don't know what I did. Daniel's heart sank. What had he done? The truth unfolded like a terrifying jigsaw he couldn't piece together. The risk wasn't just outside. It pulsed from within. What did you do? He asked, his voice barely above a whisper. With that, everything shifted again. The clock ticked ominously, and for the first time, Daniel realized he was standing on the precipice of something unimaginable. How deep did this darkness go, and what would it take to survive it? As Josh's voice trembled in the air, Daniel felt the world start to spin. What did you do? He managed to whisper, each word heavy with dread. I'm telling you, they're coming after me. Josh's eyes were wide, tears streaming down his cheeks. I heard them talking. Talking about what? Mark shouted, his voice filled with a mixture of fear and confusion. "What are you not telling us?" Josh's breathing grew erratic, and he clutched the phone to his chest. "You think this is a joke? You think I'd lie about this? Suddenly, there was another loud noise, a bang that reverberated through the classroom, sharp and alarming. All heads snapped toward the door, hearts hammering in sync. The door rattled, as if something was trying to break in. "Stay down," Daniel shouted, instincts kicking in. The officer whipped around, wide-eyed, ready to take action. "Lock the doors!" But before they could move, the door swung open with a crash. The figure that rushed in wasn't a police officer, but someone they all recognized. Liam, another classmate, disheveled and wild-eyed. "It's him! He's going to—" Liam paused, chest heaving, and pointed a trembling finger toward the hallway. "He has something! They're all outside!" A wave of panic swept through the room. Students gasped, eyes darting between the door and their faces. Daniel felt his skin prickling with urgency. Who? Who has something?" But before Liam could answer, the intercom buzzed, crackling with static. "Attention! Lockdown in effect! All students stay in your classrooms!" The room erupted into chaos. Josh was on the verge of hyperventilating. "This is all my fault! I didn't mean to—" "What did you do, Josh?" Daniel pressed, trying to keep his voice steady. "Please, we need to know. I thought I could help. I just wanted to be part of something," Josh blurted out, eyes frantic. "I never wanted it to go this far." "What are you talking about?" Lucy shouted, stepping forward, anger and fear colliding in her voice. "You know more than you're letting on." Before Josh could answer, another loud noise echoed from the hallway, punctuated by frantic shouting. "Get him out!" someone yelled, followed by another bang. The students jumped, huddling together, fear spiraling through them. "You're all blind!" Jack yelled from the back, arms waving wildly. "He took the notes. He knew everything. He had a plan." "What plan?" Mark yelled back, his voice rising above the din. "What are you even saying?" Josh shook his head, trembling with terror. "I swear, I was trying to warn everyone, but it didn't help. I just made it worse." And then, without warning, the lights went out. The world slipped into darkness. The only sound now, a drumming heartbeat, the echo of panic. "Stay calm," Daniel shouted, voice raised against the tide of fear. But calm was an impossible dream. As darkness enveloped them, whispers swept through the classroom, curling around their fears. "Josh is one of them," someone murmured. "He's hiding something. He always acts weird." "What? No," Josh cried, his voice cracking. "I was never part of that. I'm not—" But his protests were drowned out. The darkness became a living thing, pressing in, suffocating. Suddenly, a flash of light illuminated the classroom. Just a brief glint from a phone screen, enough to reveal something alarming on Josh's face. A twisted smile crept across it. Not the panic-stricken boy they all thought they knew. "Wait," a voice murmured, fear clutching like a vice. "What if he wanted us to panic? What if he planned this?" Panic surged again. "No, no way," Daniel yelled, shaking his head in disbelief. But the realization settled in, thick and heavy. Had Josh ever been truly innocent? And then came the most shocking twist. The phone started buzzing in Josh's hands, revealing messages on the screen. "You're next," one read. "They're coming. Act natural." Gasps echoed through the room, eyes widening in horror. "You're not one of us," Liam shouted, stepping back. "You're the problem." Josh's eyes darkened, and in an instant, everything shifted. The bonds they thought they had crumbled. "No, I just wanted to fit in, he screamed. I didn't mean for it to get out of hand. Daniel's heart raced. The trust they had felt moments ago was unraveling, stitching back together into something frightening. Who was the real threat? The walls of their world were closing in, and desperation hung heavily over them. Then the lights flickered back on, revealing Josh's stricken face, twisted in conflict. But was that fear? Or was it triumph? The question lingered, charging the air with uncertainty. As silence fell, Daniel couldn't shake the feeling that everything they thought they knew was just the surface. What had they uncovered? And what would come next? The web they spun seemed impossibly tangled, and with every heartbeat, the danger crept closer. What would they find if they dared to look deeper? As the lights flickered back on, Daniel felt the tension around him thicken like fog. The faces of his students swam before his eyes, a blend of fear, confusion, and something darker: betrayal. Josh stood frozen, clutching his phone, heart racing, and breaths coming in shaky gasps. "Tell us everything," Mark yelled, his voice the only anchor in the chaos. "What did you do?" The room felt electric, their collective heartbeat thrumming through the air. "I didn't mean for any of this to happen," Josh cried, his eyes darting, searching for escape. "I just wanted to belong." To be part of something bigger? "By threatening us?" Lucy's voice cut through, sharp and accusatory. "You thought this was a game?" "No," Josh's voice cracked. "I didn't think it would come to this. I just wanted to matter." The truth hung heavy, wrapping around them like a noose. Daniel stepped forward, heart pounding, eyes locked on Josh. "You put everyone's lives in danger. This isn't how you get attention." Suddenly, another loud bang reverberated down the hallway, snapping everyone to attention. The anxiety in the room surged, boiling over. Daniel glimpsed the doorway, anticipating the worst. There was a faint flicker of movement. More police officers were outside, ready to breach the chaos. "Everyone, get back! Stay away from the windows," one officer shouted, rushing past, his determination palpable. In that instant, Josh's face twisted in despair. "I never wanted this. I didn't think they'd really come for me," he sobbed, tears streaming. "You have to believe me." The doubt spiraled, the students glancing at one another, fear creeping into their expressions. "What do we do? We can't stay here," Liam shouted, panic spilling out. Daniel took a deep breath and raised his hands, grounding himself. "We fight this together. We can't let fear win." He turned back to the students, their wide eyes reflecting a mix of dread and hope. "We'll figure this out." In that moment, as if the universe had synced with their hearts, Lucy stepped forward. "We're more than just scared kids. Together, we can stand against whatever's out there." Mark nodded, his hands flexing with renewed determination. "We need to think. Josh has friends outside, right? Let's talk to them." The students rallied around, forming a tighter circle, a barrier against the escalating chaos. "Everyone has something to lose," Jack chimed in, his intensity shifting into something powerful. "If we stand together, we can end this madness." Their voices mixed into a cacophony of action. As Daniel listened, encouragement surged through him. These kids, filled with raw passion, were igniting a fire he didn't know they had. They could unite against the storm brewing outside. Just then, lights illuminated the hallway, revealing police officers, tense but focused. "We've contained the situation. Everyone stay calm while we clear the area." With a rush of relief, Lucy glanced at Daniel, gratitude coloring her cheeks. "They'll help us." Josh, trembling but resolute, raised his head. "I'm sorry. I made a huge mistake. Thank you for this chance." As the door swung open, revealing the officers ready to guide them to safety, Daniel felt a shifting energy in the air. They were navigating the dark wilderness together. And despite the uncertainties, hope was flickering anew. One last comforting glance exchanged among the students, a silent promise of solidarity, before they began walking out of the classroom. The weight of what had happened pressed heavily, but there was light ahead, undeniable and bright. "Get ready, world," Daniel thought as they stepped into the hallway, his heart calming with each breath. "We're ready to face whatever comes next." And now, dear friends, as we wrap up this intense journey filled with secrets, struggles, and unexpected heroes, I need you to take action. If you don't want to miss any thrilling stories woven into our lives, you must subscribe to the channel now. This is the time to show your support. Smash that like button to fuel the algorithm and keep our community thriving. Flood the comments below with your reactions and wild theories. And please, share this video with at least 5 friends who need to witness this revelation. Don't wait one more second. True fans know how vital your support is. Let's keep this momentum going.